Hey guys, welcome to another roleplay review. This time we are doing Battle of Clove Point. How we doing? So in this one we have the characters Beretta, Fusion, and Zuki, which, like, I want to give y'all a title. I want to call y'all the new Team Evil. The Acolytes of Fusion. And there's some NPCs here. There's Vane, Janet, other NPCs, and more other NPCs. But I do love that they are all color-coded here to kind of tell us who's speaking and when. Even in the characters, that was a nice touch. The type, pretty much all combat, maybe some drama, I guess. Setting info is Clove Point is southeast of Vitae City, overlooking the river that leads to the ocean, and looks out towards the east at the Jin Mountains. Its overall vacant location that's mainly used as a date spot to watch the sunrise and sunsets. The forests that burned down are on the opposite side of the river, east of Clove Point's date spot. So let's click on this link. And it's saying the north. I'm going to bring this over here. So Vitae City is here. I think they say it's the northwest corner. I'm going to the map with Vitae City. Yep. Yeah, so it's like over here. And this must be the river that they're talking about. So they put Clove Point right about here with Vitae City, which really this should be like the Vitae continent, because there's so many people here. I said this a while ago. I think they said there was like 400 million people in Vitae City, so it's the Vitae continent. It's Vitae. But yeah, so we're going to go over this. The previous log was Baka's date at Clove Point. So like with my last video, we're just kind of going into the sequence, and the synopsis of this one is after the events in the last log where Beretta is thrown off a cliff. Fusion and Zuki come to save the day. People fight, the woods burn, everyone tries to kill Zuki. Fusion's good, Baka's evil. The world is a messed up place, really. Pretty large oversimplification of what happens in this log. It's not wrong, but it is, yeah, way too simplified, right? So, yes, what happens in the synopsis is what happens in this log. Beretta is thrown off a cliff by Vane. Fusion comes in, he makes his heroic save. Anti-hero, but he's still heroic. Like, Fusion is, I don't know, Fusion's like a hero reluctantly. Kind of like Sashomaru, right? Like, he really gives Sashomaru vibes of like, I want to be bad, I want to be evil, but damn it, I gotta keep saving all these people, damn. So he saves Beretta from falling, and Zuki kind of follows suit, and there's this like master-apprentice kind of relationship going on between Zuki and Fusion, and Zuki is a female Saiyan. They keep being told, remember Imperial boxing, so I'm assuming at some point they had ties with the Empire. Excuse me, I don't know why that's not full screen. But yeah, like at some point they had ties with the Empire or something, because they keep being told like remember Imperial boxing, and it's definitely something that's like an interesting concept, and that's really why I'm talking about this video, or making this video and talking about this log, because there's a lot of interesting concepts in here that you guys put together. But for everybody else, yeah, overall there's some mercs in the woods that are trying to get to Beretta. They want to capture them, or eventually it comes down to they want to kill them. And Fusion doesn't, we don't really get an explanation as to why he's out here, but he just is. And writers will, that's his dynamic entry into the log, is like, I was just moseying about, sent some bullshit, here we go. And yeah, Fusion saves him. Zuki's there. Zuki's trying to also prove themselves and put what seems like Fusion is teaching them to good use. They fight some mercs, and what I thought was cool is once the merc threat is kind of taken out, I kind of figured, yeah, the Vane would be the final boss of the log, and at some point we were gonna have to see like, him and Fusion are really gonna duke it out because throughout this, Fusion's tier 2, right? So he is living the power fantasy of like just he's getting to be Fusion, right? He's getting to be the evil murderer and the massacrer that he is, and it's hard to like be that on page because the heroes are going to want to show up and put an end to him, kind of like what happened the first time. But now he doesn't have a Koshoro to to stop him, so he gets to be his evil self without having to worry about somebody coming after him because he's doing it against other bad guys now, right? And he's just tearing through these guys. I think one dude, like, he's standing there and Fusion, and it's like, Fusion whisk by, whoosh, and then the next thing you know, dude doesn't have a head. He just he's standing guard. He feels a breeze, and then you just see like just the body is just left standing there holding the gun, and where the dude's head used to be. So Fusion is just tearing through these guys, which again, he is tier 2, and if they're starless, if they're just regular people, yeah, that's what would happen, right? Like, if the Flash were evil, he could kill you without you even knowing it. And that's what Fusion's doing. And then Beretta, having been beat up by Vane before, they're still pretty out of it and only survived because Fusion caught them. So they're more trying to hide. But that narratively really helped Baka, the person writing all this, to dig into their DM role and kind of manage what's going on for everybody else and not focus on them. So this was really like, I would say like Baka wrote this or was a part of this to give Fusion and Zuki some time to shine, which their character does have their moment at the end where they literally fight Zuki. They fight them as the final boss, which again, I thought that was cool. Rather than it be Vane, it was the two characters had to fight each other, and that was the big climax. And then after they have their squabble, Fusion gets to have his moment of like, yeah, shit's gone south, and we have no other way out. We're trapped. And Fusion's like, no, I got you. And I think he's doing like an energy shield, and then blows them all away. And then they get back to the pier. And the big twist at the end is that Vane, the bad guy this whole time, was little Janet's uncle. So in here towards the end, here, so yeah, they make it back. They're at this pier, and Vane, while he's had Baka, the reason that sorry, let me back up. The reason that Baka and Zuki had to fight is because Vane had said, hey, Baka, go kill Beretta, go kill these two people, and we'll let Janet go. And come to find out that Janet is this guy, the bad guy's uncle. And that was a pretty big reveal because we knew Janet was like involved with this in some way. She had to have been, because it was either like she was going to die or she had to be involved with it, because it was just an NPC that was reoccurring. The classic trope of like, this is the one person in Beretta's life that's really treating him like a person and is kind of nice to him outside of the people at the orphanage. And it's like, yeah, you're too nice to make it out of this, honey. It's like you're a black dude in a horror movie. Like, we know we know it's going to happen at some point. We're just waiting for when. And here's her tragic fall, right? She is related to this dude, and now she's kind of tied to this dude, which, like, again, this was a role play that got me thinking about concepts, right? Like, she could play this, like, inside mole role where She gets out, she's released, and she's then used as bait, like a secret agent, a honeypot, to get Baka alone somewhere else. If it's like, if I can't outright ambush you in the woods, then maybe I can seduce you over here, and then I can kill you, right? And then I can silence you, or maybe even just that relationship that Janet is tied to this guy, and he could then put like pressure on Baka, like, hey, if you don't do what I say, I won't do anything to you, but I'll ruin your best friend's life by exposing the connection between, and I can keep myself out of it. That's just some of the things that I was thinking about. But yeah, this was a good log. It was really intense with its action. Some of the notes that I had though were like, while we were, massacring the mercs that were there, the mercenaries, like there was one thing that I did want to kind of just, and this is not I'm just putting this out there. I'm just putting this out there into the ether, that we are role playing in a time where people with superpowers have existed for a while. And like with anything, even in modern times, like if there's something so powerful, we have to find a way to combat it. So I was thinking that, like, yes, while these mercs are there to be, fodder, to be jobbers, to make the PCs look good and to style on them, I think a couple of things that you could do is create like scenarios where, even though like Fusion is tier 2, like maybe there is something that they can kind of do. Maybe there was like some sort of power dampener, or like, think of any meta-human movie that you've ever seen. And the one scene that comes to mind is like the Incredible Hulk, like the Edward Norton one, and they're fighting in the courtyard, and they like hit him with this sound blaster or something like that, even the freaking Hulk has to stop for a second, at least be stunned. It doesn't beat him, but at least stuns him. There could be technology like that, right? There could be like suppression fields. Like there actually is that in Vitae City, right? Like that's how they keep these metahumans from blowing up Vitae City every other role plays, because there's a big ass suppression dome around the city. Or like specialized grenades, which I did like the use of grenades in here. I really did. I have some notes about that later. But just something to kind of like add the extra tension or suspension in the future, right? To keep from feeling like being gods at, tier 2, tier 3, when, yeah, you kind of are. Like, it's Dragon Ball scaling, so if you can blow up a mountain with the energy that you produce from your hand, like, yeah, like, what do you do against that, right? So it is kind of hard to mitigate that. I understand. But yeah, I really dig the idea of trying to find a way to make it still difficult, right? Even for just regular Joes. They don't have to win, and they don't even really have to like do RP health damage to you or anything, but just something that's a threat. Like, just again, something to think about. And the other thing I did want to say is I did like Zuki's part where they were fighting, because Zuki is starless as the writing of this one, and they're fighting a guy, and they really give their enemy like agency, right? So they do mention that Zuki is physically stronger. So it seems like when it becomes this grapple, yeah, like Zuki should win. She should definitely win. She's an alien, right? She's a Saiyan. She hasn't ascended yet, but she still is ascended, right? Like, again, starless or tier 0, you're basically Batman. So Batman can bench press 1,000 pounds. Dude, strong AF, right? For a regular human. So yeah, it's like I'm peak physical human at the start of my journey, right? Like, I'm only going to get stronger. So yeah, I would say unless the other guy is also ascended or tier 0 or even tiered at all, it would seem like, yeah, I can physically be stronger than you, But then they also were saying that, but this guy is also fighting for his life. So he's still going to do everything that he can because, like, this is a literal fight to the death. Like, to me, just the mentioning of that, like, in my head, like, I felt the adrenaline spike in this enemy, and like the panic giving him extra strength, maybe to where he does match a starless person, right? To maybe not sustain it, but at least for that moment, like, got a surge of strength where it's like, oh, I still have got to take this seriously. I can't just, Donnie Yen, like Ip Man, like punch you once and then you're out. No, like, you are still a threat to me. And again, I love that, right? And it wasn't something that was overtly said. It was all in the green text, right? So you had to really, you had to be reading it to pick it up. And once I did, I was like, oh, that's so much, it's so much better than, just blasting through somebody because you gave it weight, right? And then of course the part where Zuki is winning but is so overconfident in themselves of like, yeah, I'm winning this fight, that they didn't even notice that the pin was pulled and that the guy was willing to die by himself. So he pulls this pin on this grenade and they basically tank one, which it's like, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you that a tier 0 can tank a grenade, but it I think it did like 50 points of health. I would have said closer to 60, but it's not my role play. But that was a moment where I was like, ooh, oh, you didn't dodge that one. Nah, you took that shit. All right, Zuki, I see you. Respect. And then the last thing that I have is that I do like that Vayne knew right away who Fusion was. Vayne was like, hey, I can't deal with Fusion. I have nothing to deal with him. And like, y'all don't understand, like, Fusion isn't just a tier 2 character. He is known for murdering martial arts masters. He is known for, fighting and killing hundreds of ascended beings. Like, he is known as just this ruthless, I won't say he's like outside of his tier, but he's so deadly, right? Like, he does not mess around, and usually if he is seeing red, you're dead. So he, like, Vayne's just like, hey, I have nothing that can deal with that right now. So, hey, Fusion, buddy, let's cut a deal. All right. And I love that. I love the scumbag move of, let's try to cut a deal. Let me talk you into betraying your own people that you're here to save because I got something better for you. And I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed Fusion didn't even try to hear him out, right? Because that would have been cold-blooded, boy. Like, that would have been cold. And that, to me, I was like, okay, so this could be the other main bad guy, is that now it's, Zuki and Beretta have got to fight Fusion, and maybe even Vayne's got to help, right? Like, Fusion's just like, I want all the smoke, all three of you right now, let's go. That's what I was hoping would happen, but, it didn't. What the bad guys won, kinda? Like, Beretta got away, so that was the whole goal, was to kill Beretta, and Beretta didn't die. But they also didn't save Janet, so that leaves more story later on, and it also gives Beretta a purpose and a drive, because at the end of all this, when they do get back to safety, Beretta basically says, like, Fusion, train me, right? Like, help me out, which is classic Baka, right? The writer, this is what their characters do. They attach to the strongest, usually the strongest villain. I don't know if you've noticed that over the years. You always get to, like, the bad guy of the roleplay setting, and you're like, hey, train me. and now, if we have a Fusion, not Padawan, I guess Acolyte, oh, man, are we in trouble. Man, are we in trouble. And it's weird, because it's like, Beretta isn't evil. Beretta just has no other choice, right? There was nobody else there to offer a path to power. Now, I do know in the next log that I have to read is Beretta interacting with Hypo now. So maybe that, like, Hypo can, like, pick up and be like, hey, you are, whoever you were learning from before, they are taking you down a dark path. And maybe Hypo can be, like, the light, which is interesting because it's the same person role playing. So it's like, hey, do you want my light side or do you want my dark side? And I think Zuki is already on the dark side. I think Zuki is just already gone. That chick is wild. That chick is violent and likes violence like a true Saiyan, right? When I say Saiyan, I'm talking about, like, not the nice kind. No, these were the invader kind. These were the ones that blew apart Kanasa and you know was killed later on. That she's the evil. She's the Bardock type of Saiyan, right? That's her archetype, is this blood and conquer. But good job, y'all. Yeah, I awarded this pretty heavily. I did give Baka some extra greens because you did a good job with your DMing and your world building, and you know, the fighting was good. It's, you know, it's not punch kick, but it's detailed fighting, you know, especially when it came to the 1v1 at the end. You know, it's just, you read through it, and if it makes sense, great. And it's like you see how it all ended and played out. But it was a good job. Sorry it took me a month to get to it, but that was a lot of words. So I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.